Welcome back to Ideas Spotlight here on Beyond the Brick. I'm Joshua Hanlon, and today I'm happy to have Spencer joining me to chat about his summer sports camp project. And before we launch on in, big thanks to Clone Army Customs for helping make these live streams possible. Check out all of their fantastic custom Lego Star Wars minifigures and accessories at clonearmycustoms.com. Now, today we have a project that I think many people can really be familiar with, and this is a summer camp Lego project here. Summer camps are something that a lot of people go to growing up, and I think there's a lot of fond memories attached to them. So I think this is really fun project, really cool project. So Spencer, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Joshua.
So why don't you start off by just telling us kind of the inspiration for this project? What made you want to do a summer camp build and then put it on Ideas?
So I think the inspiration behind it is, a lot of people have memories from their childhood where, they've been to some sort of camp, and I'm the same. I've been to quite a few camps in my time. But I've never been to like an American style camp. So I've basically used the knowledge I've had at summer camps and basically combined it with this American aesthetic, which I think a lot of people can relate to.
Now that brings up an interesting point. Do you feel like there is a big difference between summer camps here in the U.S. versus maybe over there where you are or in other countries? Is there a big difference in kind of what the types of activities that are offered and that sort of thing?
I definitely think that there's some sort of um, different opinions and different sort of views on summer camps and things like that. But I think over here, although everything, although it is basically the same as most places, like they've got a climbing wall and they've got a zip line and such.
Yeah.
I do think that they each have sort of regional aesthetics. Some places are more fielded, and some are more have more like trees and are more forested and things.
Right, that's a really good point. I can't say I've ever considered the differences in summer camps around the world. So it's interesting to think about, and I think your project can definitely capture some of that. So why don't we go through kind of the different sections here? If you want to kind of give us an overview of what each kind of play area and feature is of this build.
Yeah, so down below we've got the lake, which is one of the first things I started building because it sort of determined the height of the whole model. And then I think I moved on to like the zip wire, which is further north, sort of in the forested area of the build. There's like a football pitch below as well because I originally submitted this for the sports competition on Lego Ideas. So I wanted to include as many references to sport as I could in the build. And then I moved on to the cabin and all the tents and the fireplace, to the western, the west side of the build. And then I moved on to the final activities such as archery and the climbing wall, which I think I tried to make them all as detailed as possible, and I tried to make them all like displayable and playable from as many different angles as possible. Because that's another thing I really enjoy about Lego, about the variety, and not just in the build, but just the whole aspect of this company and what it's become to be to to many people.
Right. And I think what you captured here is instantly recognizable. When I first looked at photos of this build and kind of the wide shot of everything set up, I was immediately able to pick out kind of a lot of the iconic things you get at summer camps, like we were talking about earlier. You got the zip line, you've got that climbing wall, the lake or pond with kind of the canoe on it, even the archery and all of that. So things that I think a lot of people can definitely recognize and are a ton of fun for sure. Now, one thing you referenced was the cabin there. So if we want to maybe talk about the interior of the cabin, what kind of details you were able to include in there, because I think we saw some photos earlier and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so in the cabin, I started off with possibly one of my favorite builds in the whole set, which is the TV. And on the TV, it's got like a reference to Pong.
Yes, I see that there.
Yeah, which I sort of count as sport because it's e-sport. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorite parts in the build. And then we've got a ping pong table and dartboard on that side of the wall as well. And then on the other side, as we can see, it's more of a normal interior with a bed, which I tried to represent with like a shoved over duvet and lava lamp. And then there's a bookshelf by the door as well, which I uh, I took inspiration from like Ninjago City and all those other sets with lots of little details like that, which I tried to represent in the cabin.
Ninjago City is certainly a fantastic set to draw inspiration from when we're working on lots of different types of builds, and I think this one included. But yeah, again, the details on the interior here are also very recognizable. So Pong is an interesting choice for the TV. Why did you go for that versus maybe a different kind of video game or a TV show or movie or something on there?
Um, well, I think the nostalgia that comes with this set, because a lot of people, you know, when looking at the set, think back to like the memories of, um, you know, when they went to a summer camp when they were younger. And I just sort of wanted to represent that in the world of gaming as well, where Pong, I believe, was one of the first video games, if not the first video game. Um, So and I think it's quite easy to replicate in bricks as well, but I think it, you know, pays off as a very simple but effective outcome.
Yeah, never underestimate the nostalgia factor with ideas for sure. I think yeah, a lot of projects get those votes from older fans who look back fondly on kind of childhood experiences or things that they had when they were kids, anything like that. So that's definitely a good idea. Now, another neat kind of design feature of this build is the fact that it's modular and things can be moved around very easily. So why don't you explain kind of how that system works for us?
Yeah, so one of the things I really like about you know builds like this is that most of the time they are modular, and I do like that about Lego because it sort of um, gives you more options for displayability, as well as playability and imagination. And how it works is they're all joined up with the paths that go in between all of the sections. And as you can see, no two paths are the same on each module. And I'm not sure if they're on the ideas website, but I did take some photos of the modules, like swap round in different like uh
Different configurations, sort of, or different kind of combinations of them.
yeah, different combinations. So I had the lake maybe to the north side instead of the forest, and then it doesn't necessarily have to be in like a square or a rectangle as well. It can be mixed and matched to whatever shape you choose.
Right. And yeah, I think that that's something that's cool about this is you could put, more space between each of these. You could add more woods, you could add more cabins, anything like that. That's the beauty of modular type systems and really the way that Lego does sort of their modular buildings and a lot of those types of builds is how easy it is to adapt and make it your own.
Yeah. Um, like I said, I really like the modular aspect to Lego because it does, create more options to like, switch parts of buildings around and things. And that was one of the first concepts when I was designing the set. I knew I wanted this to be modular because, I definitely think that, it would be popular with, other people. But I, personally also really like the effect it has.
And talk a little bit more about the path system that you designed, if you can. Did you try different pieces for that? Because I know there's a lot of different pieces that people use to create sort of paths or road type look with Lego. I think what you did here works really well. Those round tiles really stand out nicely against the. Is that like an olive green color for the ground there? So I
Yeah,
think that works really well with the contrast.
yeah. So when I was designing the paths, this was the I didn't have like that many different templates. I just sort of made the path and then decided I was going to stick with it. But I was either going to stick with the smooth, intricate path I've got now, or have it more sort of natural and like you know random. So like not everything sort of rounded out. It's different corners and different angles sort of spurted out in different directions. But I decided to go with this because I thought it did sort of look natural, but it also looked quite cartoonish, and I think it had a very nice like effect. When it complemented the whole build.
I agree. And another thing that stands out in this build, as we've looked at all these different photos, is the variety of minifigures. And here's a shot of a bunch of them right here. So, if you can take us through kind of your approach to the types of minifigures you wanted to include with this build and the design of some of them.
So all of the minifigures, I wanted to give them different hair pieces and different outfits, but I also wanted to give them different attitudes and different appearances and things. And a few of them are actually based off of people like in my classes at school and things. Um, so I did get some of the inspiration, but then I didn't really spend that much time building them because I wanted to spend all my time trying to build the actual model. But I did try to have like a lot of diversity between the figures. So on the left we've got like you know some of the boys who a few of them are quite like overly confident. Some of them are quite shy, and you know some of them are trying to get like a girlfriend while they're at camp as well. They think they're quite popular. Some of them aren't so popular but then want to be, and then there's the girls on the other side who are also quite confident. Some of them are quite shy. I think they've got quite a few different traits as well. So one of them, reading a book. One of them in another shot is shown fishing, and a few of them are quite popular with the boys as well.
I like the different activities you have them doing because I noticed, like, for instance, the girl with the book popped up in a few of the photos of the build, always reading her book somewhere in kind of the background there. So not only did you give them kind of these different personalities and activities, but then as you place them throughout the build, you can kind of spot them doing those sorts of things, which I thought was a neat detail.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep it quite consistent, especially with a few of the characters to sort of really emphasize their interests and things. And with the girl and the book, I thought it would be um, almost like a little reference in the back of all the photos of that one kid at camp who's always just reading their book, hanging around, but never really sort of talking with any of the kids because they're just you know stuck in their book.
That's what I think makes this build so fun as well, is you've captured both the experiences and kind of the characters that a lot of people who have been to summer camps can definitely you know, identify with, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I think that's neat. You were able to capture those. And like you said at the beginning, sort of a nostalgia factor for a lot of adults as well who grew up going to camps and summer camps. They can identify with that. So something that both kids and adults can find fun.
No, yeah, I definitely think that this, set does sort of appeal to all ages, to kids who are like younger, who have just been to summer camp and, really love the experiences and, this the nostalgia for like the older fans who, appreciate, you know, their experiences at summer camp, and how it's sort of, you know, affected their, um, later, how it's affected them.
Yeah, and the fond memories they have from that. So that's definitely really neat. So if we look at this wide shot here of the build as a whole, you've captured a lot of the really cool activities from summer camps. But was there anything that you couldn't include for any reason, or something you maybe think would go well with this build if it was turned into a set? Potential for other kind of modules that could be added on.
Um, I definitely think it would work with, a lot of other like modular sets. Um, and coming back to the question about is, there anything I couldn't include? I did try to include everything, and I do think I've included everything to a certain scale, but I didn't manage to include all of the photos because I took about 20 photos of the whole of the set as a whole. And then I realized after I, rendered all the photos and stuff that you were only allowed to do like 15 on the, put 15 on Lego ideas. And I think you're only allowed to put up 10 on competitions as well. I think they might have changed that though, but I was, quite restricted to what photos went up on, on the site.
Right, that's part of the challenge with ideas, is working within their system and their rules to still promote your project and show it off best as possible. But yeah, you do have limitations there. And speaking of limitations, how many pieces are in this set, and where do you think this would fall, maybe price wise, if this was turned into an official set by Lego?
Um, so I think it's around 3,000 pieces. So it's like 3,000, 3,003 pieces. It's very close to the 3,000 mark, um, which I think is the um, it's the limit on Lego ideas. So I didn't want to go over that limit. And then price wise, I think it'd be about £200, and then about $250, and then elsewhere, 280 Canadian, Australian dollars, 200 or 220 euros, something like that. Compared to other estimations on, sets, that I've seen in the past.
Right. Well, I think that would definitely be really impressive. I know I would be a big fan of a set like this. Definitely, like we were talking about earlier, have a lot of cool memories of outdoor activities like this type of stuff growing up. So I think this would be very cool, and I think a lot of other people would find this set a lot of fun as well. So for everyone watching, make sure you go to the link in the description of this video and go lend your support to the summer sports camp over on Ideas. Help this project get over 10,000 as soon as possible. Right now it's at 256, so you can at least help get it to 500 and 1,000 and start hitting those goals on its way to 10,000. So Spencer, great work here. I look forward to seeing more builds from you in the future.
Yeah, thanks for the interview, Josh. Really appreciated, and I'm hoping to, bring more builds out in the future as well.
Awesome stuff. Keep up the good work, and thank you everyone for watching. We will see you